Hi, Sandra here, the Misophonia therapist. And in today's video, I'm just going to go through a nice, simple process of how you can try to calm emotions that feel very intense. Now, dealing with intense emotions can be scary. Often we are just very tempted to shy away from them, or rather shying away from a situation that might provoke a strong emotion. Now, some people might have seen my posts recently where I shared that my 15-year-old Cocker Spaniel, Rafferty, had passed over the Rainbow Bridge. And of course, I had to deal with some pretty intense emotions related to that, related to my loss, my grief. And of course, it was the first time I had ever experienced anything quite like it. But I'm proud to report that even though I miss her so much, that I did have, and indeed do have, the emotional resilience to process and to cope with all of those quite unfamiliar feelings. Now, I'm not going to go on about that too much, but the point I'm trying to make is we are all equipped to deal with a whole range of emotion. Everything ranging from feeling joy all the way to distress, anger, and even depressed moods. We are built to cope. And I'm not suggesting that we all are able to flow through life just weathering the storms. Many people are a lot more vulnerable than others. Indeed, there are some people who simply cannot cope with emotional intensity. But the purpose of this video is to help you to see that intense emotion and sometimes the avoidance of situations where you are worried about feeling intense emotions need not be as bad as you think. Okay, I spent 15 years of my dog's life from puppyhood just thinking to myself, I love her so much. I cannot bear the idea of losing her. And it was always a fear lurking in my subconscious mind that at some point I was going to have to go through saying goodbye. And it caused me an awful lot of anxiety. But when the time came, even though it was desperately upsetting, I coped. Okay. So with misophonia, it isn't about just hearing the sound that enrages you. We know that. We know that many people with misophonia, many people I have helped, people I have interviewed, feel a whole range of difficult, negative emotions. Obviously, the anger, the anxiety, the fear, the rage, but also the shame, the guilt, the frustration with being confined or restricted or not able to spend quality time with loved ones. So you will undoubtedly be feeling a whole range of intense emotions, some of them related to being triggered, some of them related to the fear of being triggered, some of them related to situations in your life that feel uncontrollable. Misophonia can often just be a very small part of that. So I'm going to crack on now with how to cope better, how to process without judgment these difficult emotions. So the first thing you do when you notice an emotion that is intense is simply observe it. Try not to introduce any narrative or judgment about what it is, why you're feeling it. Just close your eyes, breathe, steady your breathing, and just see if you can notice where the emotion is in your body. Usually is a good place to start. What you might notice is sensations, maybe around the abdomen, the core, the chest, the throat. It could be anywhere at all. And the thing to do is simply observe it. Try not to label it. Try not to judge it. All you're really doing at this stage is observing. Preferably with the eyes closed if you can do that. And whilst you're observing the sensations of the emotion, you could try repeating an affirmation to yourself. A good one is, I am strong. I am strong. Or perhaps, I am feeling this emotion, but I am not this emotion. And just watch what happens. Just observe. Notice how even very intense pain can shift in the body, sometimes dissipating, sometimes coming back. Really feel it. You might even have a cry at this point, and I love crying. I am such a crier. Just sit with it and don't fear the emotion. Just be with it. And sometimes after doing this for a few moments or maybe longer, you can notice that the emotion is not permanent. It shifts, it morphs into other things, and you can actually give yourself permission to release it. Like I said, a cry sometimes helps, but just give yourself permission to feel it and then let it go. Observe the emotion as it shifts and just changes in its form, in its energy, where it's showing up in your body, and notice it releasing. Sometimes it can be helpful to remember a time when you felt happy, when you felt calm. You might have a really lovely, happy little memory. In my case, I chose to think of my dog when she was a puppy, when she used to run through the long grass with her ears. She was a spaniel, so her ears used to flap. And that made me laugh. So feel the emotion, observe it, let it go, and maybe replace it with a moment of joy. And that is all for today, something nice and short. I hope it's helpful, and I will be back, I promise, with more content. I've had a little bit of a break. Have a great day ahead, and I'll see you soon.